It is January 30th, 2011, and I'm down here on my lower garden on Salt Spring Island. And I'll just give you a quick rundown and tour of what things are looking like today. So on the lower garden here, coolest part of my garden, we have all my propagating beds in the greenhouse there. So that's where I start all my seeds, in that small 8x12 greenhouse. These are all palms in 1-gallon pots right there. I just throw maple leaves on them to protect them for the winter. And in here there's another 2,500 or so palms in pots in unheated cold frames. Lower jungle garden here, lots of bamboos, palms, yuccas, more palms in pots there underneath the mulch. It's a very neglected garden. I don't do too much with it. It's kind of like survival of the fittest. There's some English laurels I grew from cuttings years ago, and various exotics in here. You can see the leatherleaf viburnums, there's osmanthus, southern magnolias with monkey puzzles, palm trees. That's the California coast redwood up there, sempenvirens, Sequoia sempenvirens, and the blue form right there. So when I moved to this house many moons ago, there wasn't a plant in this garden, so I planted all this stuff here. And I wanted to mass plant to give it the jungle look, and I think it's turned out not too bad. Like I say, there's nothing in any particular order here. So for people that like really neat gardens, this would not be the garden for you. That's sable minor, by the way. Needle palm, Rhipidophyllum hystrix, and there's a bunch of palms, the seed I got from Bulgaria there. Used to be bananas down here. I dug them out, moved them into the upper garden. Cryptomeria japonica, there's a big Japanese cedar there, and there's some long needle pines up in there. So that's the lower portion of the garden. That's all native mahogany in there. That's evergreen. And there's what I grew from seed. That's a Italian cypress. I got the seed from the French Riviera. There's some that's Linus retita, box honeysuckle there. So I'm going to have to do some cutting in here. Get this stuff out of here. And coming up to the jungle garden, I have trails all through here, so it's kind of fun to walk underneath the palm trees and the tropical plants. Fatsia japonica. There's yuccas in there, and there's lots of succulents. Lots of perennials still to come up in that. In the spring, lots of perennials come up in the lower garden. Yucca filamentosa here. And we'll take you to the mid garden right now. There's Yucca filamentosa in front of my greenhouse. Lots of palms in here. Seedlings, all different types. There's more seedlings there. Thousands of Trachycarpus fortunei. Those are all Wagnerianus coming up in there. So it's an unheated greenhouse. Well, actually I do with these Christmas lights. If it gets really cold, I just turn the Christmas lights on so it doesn't freeze. Those are all sable minors. Sable minors, lots of sable minors from Arkansas strain in here. Warren County, Arkansas. Trachycarpus, some of my seed-grown Trachycarpus. Lots of palms in there. The hybrids. Hebes, there's some really big hebes in there. Bamboos, lots of palms, and eucalyptus, sorry. You can see the hybrids there. Wagnerianus and Tequil in there as well, more seedlings. That is a bay leaf tree, cooking bay. Looking down on the hybrids. I'm going to go into the mid garden right now, and lots of yuccas down there too. Trachycarpus fortunei, pines, and there's some laurels, grew from cuttings years ago, and more palms, understory palms under in the shade, yuccas. That's a hedge I cut back of California lilac. Gorse, Ulix europaeus, which grows wild on our island. Mixed mash stuff in here, one of my seed-grown camarops. It's been outside forever. Planted that in the 90s, believe it or not. It's growing in rock. Deer have been stripping my plants at this time of the year. That's Senecio grayi, pretty much leafless now. And there, it's a beautiful evergreen plant that flowers from New Zealand. Other camarops down in there. Yuccas. Lots of yuccas. Lots of ukes. Some of my seed-grown ukes. More yuccas. And there's my Stevenson screen, my weather screen, weather station. One of them. I have a couple of weather stations here. And there's the front garden. This is my mid garden. You can see all the seedlings in here. Self-seeded palms from the mother palm. Lots of fruit up there still. And looking through at the monkey trees. I have a couple monkey trees, another monkey tree in there. And the palms and the southern magnolias. And ground cover I use hypericum. It's evergreen and I mix it in with bamboos. It's Oriole silicata, Phylostachys, so yellow groove. Nandina domestica here. There's Fatsia japonicas, Daphne laureola, Choicea ternata, that's Mexican orange. There's understory palms growing in there in the shade. Mass plant gives you the jungle look, right? That's the best way to do it. Aspidistra is growing a lot through the garden too, the cast iron plants. Timber bamboo stand in here, Phylostachys bambuzoides with Fatsia japonica crammed in there, and there's more leatherleaf viburnum. Well, you can see the ground cover there. Lots of ground covers in here. So there's no weeding in my garden. Native ferns, sword ferns there, western sword ferns, they're evergreen. They just self-spored. Palms. It's a beautiful day out here. Clear sky, a few scattered clouds. Really beautiful winter morning here on Salt Spring Island. I'll show you the tree fern. This is the front of my house, the entrance to my house here. There's Heteromeles arbustifolia, California holly, more palms, bay tree, and this one here is tan bark oak. And there's the tree fern. And what happens, we get snow, heavy snow, and it breaks the fronds. So that's what it looks like right now. I know it kind of looks crappy, but in the spring, March, it starts to unfurl about 24 new fronds. And it does that every year. And that was planted April, 17 years ago. It will be 17 years. So there's Camadoria radicalis in here. I have several of these in the garden. They're beautiful palms. And here's the back jungle garden, very shaded under the big eucalyptus trees, so lots of tropical plants in here. The tropical-like plants, you know, there's Trachycarpus, there's Fatsia, Arbutus unido, so they all go really well together and they give it that jungly look. And here's the Aspidistra, the cast iron plant, so it's a nice evergreen lower growing plant for the shade. And around here, that's looking down into the lower jungle garden off the sun deck. So lots of perennials to come up in here. So I'll make a video in the spring and you'll see what I mean. It won't even look the same. It'll be just full of big leafy tropical looking plants. Lots of bamboos. And in here there's Fatsia, more palms, Trachycarpus, self-seeded bay trees everywhere. And that's, like I say, the tan bark oak right there too. So now we're in the mid garden. And more Fatsias in here. There's that one there is myrtle. And there's cyclamen coming. Some blooming in the upper garden. There's Nandina in there, domestica, which is heavenly bamboo. And there's the Fatsias. More bay trees, more eucalyptus trees. They're all over the place. Some tall Fatsias in here. A Cuba japonica. Deer always eat that stuff, unfortunately. More palms growing beside the house, that one. Seeded in there. There's my date palm. I wrap it up for the winter. You can see I've tied up the fronds. Vivax, bambuzoides, or Phylostachys vivax, bamboo, timber bamboo. Yuccas. There's bananas wrapped for the winter. Phormiums. There's what I do to my Brahia armata. I throw that around it for the winter time and it's fine. It's been there quite some time. Bottle brush. More yuccas, olive trees in there. There is cordyline. Palms, Trachycarpus fortunei. More there. And cactus patch. Here I covered with Lexan because I don't want them to rot. So lots of cactus growing in here. And there's native cactus, Opuntia fragilis. So that's kind of like a cactus bed. It's very dry, rocky, kind of like the rest of our yard. So agaves growing down there. More agaves there. Prickly orange plant there. Festia plant there, which is kind of cool, produces exotic flowers. There's my shelter where I put my palms in pots, so nothing freezes if it does get bad. There's some fig trees in there, which are deciduous, and I have some really big fig trees down in the lower garden. Yeah, this shelter I'll take down shortly in March, and then I take all the pots out of there. Lots of tropical plants I have in there. There's Trachycarpus wagnerianus, more Trachycarpus fortunei, and there is the kiwi vines. They lose their leaves in the winter. Still see some kiwis up there. And in here, there's the daffodils blooming, but we also have cyclamen coming into bloom. Beautiful plant right there. I got to cover them so the deer don't eat them. Yuccas. Like I say, it's a mix mash. Just about every odds and ends you can find, all crammed together to make my garden. More bamboos there, and eucalyptus trees, fatsias, and heavenly bamboos. Let's go look at the Brahia edulis. Fatsia japonica here in the wife's daycare area. Brahia edulis here. There's the fronds on a Brahia edulis. I love Fatsia. I like things that stay green. I'm an evergreen person, so not much into deciduous plants. Some more Fatsias. This ones I planted is 4-inch. And in here there is a another Chamaedorea radicalis right there. Isn't that a beautiful plant? Mexican, native to Mexico, that palm. Been outside for, well, it's been outside 14 years now. So that's the back jungle garden. And in here, lots of palms, which you've probably seen on my videos before. What do we have down here? Let's just see. Looking down off the back sun deck, more palms, lots of palms planted down there. There, I scatter seed around, so this stuff just kind of comes up. Forest right there, lots of palms all through there. Loquat in there. And there's some of the eucalyptus trees at the back. I've been cutting them back because they're just getting out of hand. And looking off the back sun deck down into kind of a jungly spot, a mixed mash of exotics on a beautiful January morning on Salt Spring Island, and it is about 9:20 in the morning here. There's the sun shining off some of the trees in the back of our forest there. So it's going to be a beautiful day, and I'm going to start uploading this thing right now, and then I'm going to come out here and do some gardening. Take advantage of the nice weather.